Today I want to talk about building or joining or supporting a homeschool community. When you first start homeschooling, one of the number one fears that either you have in your heart or your well-meaning friends and in-laws and neighbors bring up is, what about socialization? Your kids are going to be weird, they're not going to have enough time with their peers, and people are panicked about something that frankly isn't a real concern. And I might do another video on this later, but in the meantime, there is an actual real problem when you start homeschooling, and that is that sometimes you just don't have a community. If you need a homeschool community, piece of advice number one is stop waiting. Stop waiting. You have to start it. When we started homeschooling, my oldest two are twins, and we didn't know anybody else who homeschooled. I had one friend that was planning on homeschooling, and they lived over an hour away. It was really, really sad and hard for us, but we would get together with them occasionally, and every time we got together, I would say, I wish that we had some sort of a community. I wish that there was a hiking group. I wish that there was a book club. I wish that there was something we could do. And so it was hard for us, and I just kept waiting and waiting and waiting for someone else to start the group. But as soon as I started the group, it took off, and it took off quickly. We really soon had a dozen families or more who were regularly showing up. And every single one of them said to me, we've been waiting and waiting and waiting for somebody to start something like this. Stop waiting. You have to start it. Okay, my second piece of advice is go where the homeschoolers are. The library. That's the number one place you should go. Church. The Natural History Museum on a Tuesday at 11 a.m. Homeschoolers are out and about, especially during the school day. They probably don't have shoes on, and they're eating seaweed snacks. And unfortunately, number three piece of advice is introduce yourself. Learn how to walk up to people and say, wow, are you guys homeschooled? It seems really scary. I'll give you a little script. Here's what you say. You see another mom. Maybe you make eye contact and you smile and wave because your kids are all playing. It was easy for them to make friends. It's not easy for you. That's okay. You walk over to the other mom and you say, it's so fun to see other kids here. If you have older kids, that's easy. It's so fun to see other big kids here. Are you guys on break for school or do you homeschool? If you say to people, do you homeschool, and they don't homeschool, they're gonna look at you like they're afraid that homeschooling is contagious. What? No, we're on spring break. Okay, but if you are talking to someone who does homeschool, they're gonna do a little jump. Oh my gosh, yes, we homeschool. Do you guys homeschool? And they're going to be excited, and you just made a homeschool friend. And it is easy then to say, you know, we don't know a lot of other homeschooled people. Do you guys have a group or a community? We'd love to be more involved. That's it. It's easy to say, you can do it. You can write it down. Pause the video and write it down. Hey, do you guys homeschool? We don't know a lot of homeschoolers. Do you have any sort of community? And if they say no, you can say, would you guys like to get together sometime? My kids are always looking for other friends who homeschool. If it feels too scary for you to admit, I need friends, I feel lonely, I want help, blame it on your kids. My kids are lonely, my kids need friends, we'd love to get together. Chances are, whoever you're talking to either has a great community that they can include you in, or they too want a community. You should be praying specifically that you and your children will be able to find good friends. And if there's something that you're looking for in particular, homeschooled friends, friends that want to be out in the wild, friends with kids of a certain age, friends for one of your specific children, you should pray for that. And what you'll probably find is that whoever befriends you in the end was praying also for a friend. If you're going to start building some sort of a community, you should have a vision for it. Instead of just saying, hey, do you want to come over, let's hang out sometime, let's get together, which is totally great, especially if you're just hanging out with one family, start by introducing an idea. And here are a couple different types that we have participated in. We've participated in all of these. Number one is a children's nature group. A nature group is so fun and easy. Wild and Free really popularized that, but you don't have to follow their platform, you don't have to be on their website. Our nature group meets every single week, rain or shine, sun or snow. In the summertime, we go hiking, or we go to the beach, or we go kayaking. In the wintertime, we go sledding, we go skiing, we build snow forts. And we rotate different locations. We have about 4 or 5 locations per season, and we just keep those on rotation because the kids like to go somewhere new. We try to keep hikes to under 3 miles so that young kids and big kids can come. And we have kids from about 15 down to new babies. We go every single week, and we've been going every single week for over 8 years. Another type of group is a book club. I'm sure that you've been to book club, at the very least you've heard of book club, but kids and moms can both do book clubs. Here are 4 different types of mom book clubs. So you can do a classics book club. If you are homeschooling, chances are that you want your children to love reading beautiful literature, and if you didn't have an opportunity to read that as a child, you might need some training. Another type is a homeschool books book club. So that could be Charlotte Mason, if you want to read all of Charlotte Mason's works, which I do not, or various homeschool books that have been inspiring to you. Books like Teaching from Rest, or Mere Motherhood, For the Children's Sake, The Call of the Wild and Free. I could actually list off a ton, but I'm not going to. Another idea is just to read books that challenge you or that you struggle with. One of the book clubs I'm in right now, we pick books that we know the others in our group aren't necessarily going to like. Or you could be in a regular book club where you take turns picking books that you enjoy and want your friends to read. But that's not all. You could also help your kids form one or any of those types of book club. You could form a co-op. A co-op is different than the other types of group on here because a co-op stands for cooperative, right? An opportunity where you get together and you teach things. If you're doing a co-op, I think the easiest way to do it is to study things that you can work on as a group instead of individual. So writing and math and reading lessons, those are going to be really hard to do in a co-op. But things like science experiments and science lessons, things like history, especially if you're doing books, crafts, projects, learning music, and you can do choir. We had group ukulele lessons once. You can study things like art. And those are all great because you can have a 3-year-old working at the same table as a 12-year-old and not have to be repeating the same thing over and over. Everyone can work at their own ability. Another idea with co-ops is that kids can work on things privately in your own home and bring them to co-op to share. The last type of group that I want to talk about is a mother's group or a mother's circle. If you are new to homeschool or if you are seasoned as a homeschooler, I think that a mother's circle is the #1 thing that you can do to feel encouraged, refreshed, excited, and inspired and supported. I have now been in 2 different mother's circle groups, one in each of these places that I've lived, and they have been, it feels dramatic to say, completely life-changing. I think I'm going to do a whole video on how to form and practice mother circles, but I'll give you a really brief overview. We have a group of about 8 to 12 women, and once a month we take turns getting together, and the host gets to choose where we meet and what we're discussing. You can have it at your house in the evening when there are no kids. You can meet at a park in the daytime when there are 40 kids. And we just discuss any topic that we are feeling excited about, we are feeling heavy and weighed down by, or that we are feeling kind of ignorant about and want to learn more. So to give you a couple examples, we often will choose spiritual topics. So we might choose, ways to help encourage our own spiritual growth, or ways to strengthen our marriage with our spouse. Oftentimes we'll choose homeschool questions. So questions like, how should we limit screen time in our home? Or how is everybody teaching sex ed? Or how is everybody teaching English? And everybody will bring curriculums or resources. Sometimes one of us will say, I listened to this amazing podcast and I have so many thoughts. And we'll send the podcast out in advance and everybody listens and comes ready. Like a book club, you sit in a circle, everybody's come prepared. Hopefully you don't have to prepare too much. And the host will ask questions to foster discussion. Usually we end with a prayer where each of us shares a request that we have, whether that's someone in our own family or ourselves who's struggling with a sickness or their faith or an uncertain decision that lies ahead. Sometimes we'll pray for people as a group that we all know. We'll make a prayer list and we'll save it so that each of us can pray for each other throughout the month. We leave every single month feeling extremely close, that this is what it looks like to build Zion. This is what God's kingdom is like. we can come and we can sit there and go, no, 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 I disagree with what you're saying. I'm going to push back on that. Here's my opinion. And we have this amazing civil discourse. We leave full of love. Nobody feels angry. Nobody feels hurt. And we create these friendships and these bonds that are going to last us for our entire lives. And when motherhood feels so lonely, you're just in your house all the time by yourself with all these children touching you, sucking on you, and sneezing into your face and needing things from you. You can be with a group of women who understand and who love you and who want to support you and who are praying for you. And if you do not have a group of mothers, call your best friend and ask her to start a group with you. Each of you ask or invite 1 or 2 other people, and my guess is pretty soon you'll have to set a limit on how many people can join. If you are new to homeschool, my last piece of advice, or in summary, I want to say this. You can do it, and it's time to start. Get yourself a nature group and get yourself a mother's circle. And anything else that you want to do is also going to be amazing. I know that it is. And the reason I know it is because homeschool mothers are intentional. Nobody's homeschooling because they're too lazy to bring their kids to school in the morning. We're homeschooling because we feel that it's best for our children. And those are the sort of people that you want to surround yourself and your children with. Find some other homeschool moms, get out into the wild. You can do it.